Satoshi Nakamoto. And what it started out as was actually just a foundational system that allowed a sender to a recipient node to be able to receive transactional value and also smaller basic utility. Now, it grew to so much more over such a short period, and people started to explore their blockchain systems utility for much more complex systems, like transaction between crypto, transaction and exchange between fiat currency, which is our good old euro, dollar, crowns, or whatever currency that we currently have in the world. And then it also grew to a very complex utility platform where people can vote unanimously, but also with identified IDs, meaning that it could be implemented for voting systems for the political parties and also be a transaction of information and utility as a whole. So this is what we call the inter-organizational utility between businesses, consumers, and normal people alike. This might just seem like a lot of information, but actually has a lot of real-world implications. People could use this system for more than just transactions. They could use it to connect with each other without any other party involved, any other central organization that may or may not have personal agendas. So it kind of took away the power from the centralized system, and this is what people started realizing, and gave it to a decentralized system, whether that's for banking, a business, or utility. And that's blockchain. Then the Metaverse followed. Now, again, I may ask you, how many of you know about the Metaverse? Awesome. The Metaverse is simply a world that we created, a three-dimensional world which you can access with 2D devices such as your mobile or your desktop. But companies like Microsoft, like Apple, Meta themselves, which formerly known as Facebook, started developing glasses, virtual, augmented, and mixed reality, where you could, in front of yourself, enter this world and also go about your normal day and actually see in front of you. This, an example, would be where you're walking down a street and you have these glasses on, and by the way, they're coming out at the end of this year, so stay tuned for that. And you would be able to see where your nearest dentist is, or what business, or based on your previous interests on shopping and buying, it will tell you that the closest shops related to those things would be nearby, or where you could access them. Now, these are just the technologies that give you access to the Metaverse. The Metaverse itself, right, and strictly speaking about Metaverse as a business platform, is, like I said previously, a multilateral, connected world of all the different types of industries in this modern world that we have. Whether that's cars, whether that's real estate, commerce, like this big event, the biggest event I've ever been to at least, it all connects to each other and you can access them and do your real world shopping via the Metaverse. This is something that was based on the blockchain system because it created a transaction system for this to be possible at all. Now, at the end of this presentation, I'll be showing you a couple of demonstrations that are being constructed and implemented by our company and how they look like for our current clients. This is just to show you how things would look like. The Metaverse itself, it could be so many different things. It's the only limit that it has is your own imagination. There's nothing that we could not do inside of this place, and there's no volume that we are limited by in this system. And because it is, like I've explained previously, the blockchain system is based on a sender to recipient system. There's no intermediary. It is one of the most secure platforms on earth. More secure than the biggest central banks like JP Morgan, like BlackRock, Blackstone, and any other one they can think of. Now, all of this to say, What? Why should you care at all? Well, if we look at the realistic world we live in currently, all key performance indicators are pointing that this will be our future. Well, the reason that is because there's so many problems in this current system. There's bank problems, there's the banks of banks problems. There are so many different things that could influence your own money. For example, if you go to the bank right now, you wouldn't be able to take out as much cash as you want, even though it's your money. But the reason, and I will ask you a couple of questions, is much larger than that. Now, I want to ask you, how many have, in this room, have ever owned crypto? Not the stock, but crypto itself. Cool. Well, how many of you have shopped online or looked at stuff before you actually moved on to another thing and then found another thing that looked like it, but then you went to a different category altogether? Yeah, it should be most of you. Well, this is human nature. The way we like to shop, the way we like to explore, the way we like to experience things, and then actually go out there and get it for ourselves, is enabled by the metaverse and blockchain. No matter the cryptocurrency you're using, no matter the fiat currency you exchanged into cryptocurrency to use it, this is human nature. So everything that we are and everything that we've built could be put into one system that has no other person in between to control it. And we as the consumers and as business owners, people that build large organizations between people, can build it to the exact detail and to the exact intensity of our wildest dreams and make others experience it as well, whilst having infinite possibilities of banking, finance, and money, which has over 2,000 years been really not in our control. Now, I have one last question. How many of you like video games? How many of you nerds? Come on, admit it. Okay, never mind. Cool. Well, video games is a big part of the metaverse, even though it's very serious. When you go into a Call of Duty game, you start shooting people, or if you go into a sports game and you start playing sports with your friends, this is the way the metaverse allows you to experience your shopping or services that you would like to acquire. Because in the world, in this metaverse, you'll be there at the shopping mall, or you'll be at the car dealership, or looking at the real estate that you like in Dubai, or in Spain, or in anywhere in the world, with your friends. And you'd have clothes on that you would buy in Adidas in the real world that you bought online. These are mostly called NFTs, and that's a whole nother system to talk about, so we're not going to get into it that much today. But essentially, you'll be basically able to do anything that you would do in the real world with the modern accessibilities of internet, crypto, and finance. Now, if we look at just some statistics, because there's so many to look at, I just picked the biggest ones and put them up there on the screen. There's a lot of indicators that is saying, or at least kind of hinting, that this together will be a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Why? Because it's so versatile in the first place, and secondly, because it's much faster. It's much better, and it's a whole different experience of any product or service. Now, the first statistic is Meta, which recently rebranded themselves, as you know, and they have currently invested $10 billion into the Meta technology, and over 10,000 engineers are going to be hired over the next 10 years to build it for them. Then there's Unity 3D, which is a variety of different things in a company, but they also invested $1.6 billion to shape their metaverse. Not only in the engineers, but also in finding security systems, into finding minting systems to be able to really work at a scale that business is working currently. The market for metaverse is valued at $230 billion, as of 2021, by the way. We're at the end of 2022. The blockchain global transaction volume is based at 11.7 billion as of 2022. And keep in mind, with these numbers, this is a technology that hasn't even been created yet. It's not even been published yet. It's not even complete in its aspects yet. So, I just want you to have that in mind as we go along. Now, why would it be a good time now for us to start using Metaverse, blockchain, crypto? Don't think about crypto, because crypto has a lot of loopholes, but just think about money online. We had a pandemic currently, the coronavirus, which stopped us from many different things, from interacting with each other, from shopping, from traveling, from doing many of the things that we intrinsically want to do. We have inflation today growing and a decay of banking in terms of services and rates, which is based on many different reasons, but mostly being because we're printing too much cash. We have wars going on right now in different places of the world. Maybe you don't care, maybe you do, but there is ongoing wars, and they have implications whether you like it or not. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, definitely to your lives. There's political sanctions. Businesses, especially large businesses, are limited by their reach and their revenue because different people think certain things should be certain ways, and therefore you must abide by those interests. Central control of big business. This leads to the exact same that I just said. There's central organizations, SECs of the world, that control certain aspects of how things should be. The Metaverse bypasses all of it. Now, I'm not here today to sell you anything at all. I just want to talk about a little bit of what it is that's going on and how some of the businesses that we've been affiliated with have used it currently in the world. These are some of the reasons we typically go over in a Google call when we call them up. And keep in mind, I'm 25 years old. People that we usually talk to are over 45, if they're not based in Silicon Valley, of course. But the reasons we say are very obvious. There's no trying to sell something. There's no trying to say that this is better than the alternative. There is no alternative. The technology itself, I'm not talking about any specific metaverse, any specific blockchain, but the technology itself is just better than everything else. There's NFT integration. I'll just touch base on this. NFT is a tokenized utility coin or asset that you can buy, which gives you many different things. It could be access to something. You could be in the premium club. Or you could be buying into something, an idea that you like, a group that you like, an aspiration that you like. But it gives you that asset online as yourself. You own that asset. You own that access. So as more people buy into it, the value goes up. So it's real-world access, and it's a stock that rises with time and people. Web3 is the future, because we're tired of the normal 2D, the Web 2 systems like internet and Facebook and social media, but we took the best part of it and we put it into this new technology, AR, VR, mixed reality. And it could truly be experienced by everything. The video games, sports, shopping, we know all of it. The demand of virtual reality experiences is going up, not only in the typical experience sector, but also in the business sector. Companies like Tesla, companies like McDonald's, like fast food chains, and I'm talking industry now, because if I go into specifics, there's a lot of people to talk about. They're all trying to get into it, because they're seeing, damn, this is something that people kind of like. They like experiencing our products at home, but still on site, meaning in virtual reality. They like being able to spend time with their friends and go shopping, even though they're based different places in the world. They like being able to bypass all central and banking systems to buy stuff, big stuff, a car, a house. And there's one last thing that I just want to tell you, that even though today the raising of hands told me you might not be the very integrate a person into all of this, but currently if you do a little analytics on Google, which is our search platform, there's 10 million Google searches going on only in May 2022. It's one of the highest rankings of searches in the world. Again, a technology that hasn't been developed yet and published. These are just some of the sectors that we go into with this technology, right? We've done it for real estate. We develop entire projects in the metaverse, and people all around the world can store it, the entire project, with their agents, meet virtually, and set a reservation contract to buy the real estate. We do it for car and auto dealerships, where people configure their cars, see what specifics they want to have, what kind of transmission, what kind of extra mod they want to put on it. And there's a robot and AI that helps you through all the process, because no matter how good of a salesman you are, you're not going to know every single nook and cranny and specifics to what you're selling. There is a trade-in control and tool, meaning that you can trade in your car. Do it online, and they come pick it up from your house. And then you buy your new car. It comes to your house. Inventory managers, everything for the business perspective in terms of business owners. They'll be able to see how much cars they have, what kind of transactions are going on, the volume, optimize it, retarget it if you're into marketing. So it's very diverse. We do it for the nutrition and fitness industry, where people can do co-coaching. They can see their trainer virtually in their room and book an appointment and start a class. Do fitness anywhere and see them in person. See their aggression as they tell you one more. We do it for entertainment and media. I don't know if you've known or if you've seen it, but people like Snoop Dogg, like Katy Perry, they've done concerts online. They've performed in front of hundreds of thousands of people, virtually, by the way. Again, stress that. And it was live, so nothing pre-recorded. We've done it for hotels and hospitality. Booking, seeing your room, seeing what's available, seeing the view in full HD, so you can actually see what you're going to experience when you get there. And that's just all the industries we've done. Now, this was a very short talk. I just want to tell you how everything was and how we've used it. But I just want you to be aware of the technology today, because it might be our future very soon. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of demonstrations before we leave, just how all this looks like, because it seems like I'm talking about air. So if my friends there can queue up the first demonstration, I'll show you how this would be experienced. This is not a demonstration in video. This is exactly how you would experience it with your glasses or your computer or your mobile device.
Stuck here in a dream. I'm at the bottom of the sea. I'm just stuck here in a dream. I'm at the bottom of the sea.
Now that was just a short little thing, but that's how you would walk into a real mall that's based maybe out of the Dubai Mall, as we all know, and you would walk into each store and buy whatever you want. Can we see the next, please? This is for real estate. Take a close look.
In the dark, where we sleep, crystal eyes are watching me. In the dark, where we sleep, crystal eyes are watching me.
Next, please. That's the second video to the same video. And that's all. Thank you.